said, I'm running around looking for peace of mind.
We're 8 weeks out from the Bataan Memorial Death March race at White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico on the 21st of March 2026. It's a 42-kilometre weighted foot race carrying 16 kilos or 35 pounds on your back. The race commemorates the infamous Bataan Death March from the 9th of April 1942. There, tens of thousands of American and Filipino soldiers were surrendered to the Japanese forces. They were then forced to march more than 60 miles through the scorching heat of the Philippine jungles. Thousands died, and those that survived were forced to endure the hardships of prisoner of war camps. So I'm competing in this race with 3 key goals in mind. First, to raise $30,000 for the Commando Welfare Trust, a registered charity that provides emergency and long-term financial support to Special Forces soldiers, veterans and family members where the system cannot. My second goal is to commemorate in my own way the soldiers we've lost in training and operations in the 21st century who are serving their country proudly. One of which was a mate of mine. I want to keep their memory very much alive. The third goal is to place in the event. Now, why does that even matter? It's not about ego, it's the fact that if I'm going to ask people to donate to this cause, you need to know that your hard-earned money is 1, going to a worthy cause, and 2, being earned. I'm not just asking you to donate money with me as a participant in this race, I'm assuring you that there's a lot of hard work and training that's going into this, so that I can represent the soldiers we've lost in the Commando Welfare Trust with respect. And that's important to me because I have a lot of dear friends serving in the Special Forces community that sacrifice a lot to keep our country and our region safe. So please keep watching to hear more about this worthy cause.
So come out and shake me.
So who am I? I'm Dan, and I'm a squadron leader in the Royal Australian Air Force, and I've been in for 13 years now. I'm currently on long service leave with my discharge set for the middle of this year. I've deployed a couple of times, and I've been extremely fortunate in my career to have met, worked alongside, and become mates with some of the best men and women you'll meet, many who now serve in the Special Forces community. Well, there's not many military-oriented races in the world, but this is a grueling pack marching or rucking race that attracts thousands each year, averaging about 500 mostly US servicemen and women for the military heavy division. And I compete in a number of athletic events, so as someone that served in the military for 13 years now, this race certainly attracted my attention, but I sincerely wanted it to be more than just about myself. I saw an opportunity to raise much needed funds for a worthy cause linked to the military. And over the past few years, we've lost a lot of great soldiers who died in service of their country. Many Australians will remember that in 2024, we tragically lost Lance Corporal Jack Fitzgibbon in a parachuting incident, and in 2023, we lost 4 soldiers in a helicopter crash. Captain Dan Lyon, Lieutenant Max Nugent, WO2 Joseph Laycock, and Corporal Alexander Nags. And in the years gone by, we've lost many more on training incidents and operations alike. By all accounts, extremely fine soldiers serving their country. For me personally, I met Dan Lyon on a surfing trip. I'd never met him before, but being the outgoing larrikin he was, I soon felt like I'd known him for years. We worked out we had a close mutual friend in common, and he soon had his arm wrapped around me, taking a selfie to send to our mate Jack. I know people say this stuff all the time, but he was honestly one of the best blokes you'll meet. He had a deep, deep devotion to his wife Caitlin and their 2 young children, and I'd say within a couple of hours of meeting him, he had his phone out, showing me his kids, raving about his son's AFL ability and telling me how his daughter had him wrapped around her finger. The type of dad that every man should aspire to be like. Anyway, I was in the snowy mountains when I got the call that Dan and his team had passed. It certainly didn't feel real, and it certainly didn't feel right. I know a lot of people were heavily impacted by this, as hundreds arrived at the funeral for these great men. So it's been a couple of years now since these incidents, but the opportunity to race in this event came up, and I reached out to Caitlin to ask her if any charities had been of assistance during that extremely difficult period of her and her family's life. And she said that the Commando Welfare Trust had been very supportive. In fact, just the other day, she said to me that because of the Commando Welfare Trust, her son will be starting private school next week. And so because this charity has been so helpful in her family's life and the families of the other men we've lost, I wanted to raise more much needed funds for this worthy cause, which I'll now pass over to Major Paul Dunbavin, OAM, who will shed more light on the purpose of the Commando Welfare Trust, because it's important for you to know what they do.
The Commando Welfare Trust was founded in 2010 out of necessity as the Special Operations Command faced a rising number of casualties, particularly in Afghanistan and the Middle East. Since then, we have dedicated to providing emergency and long-term support for Special Forces, soldiers, veterans and their families in times of hardship. Over the years, we have helped over 132 individuals, assisting with medical expenses, recovery equipment, housing and education. Today we are actively supporting 47 families, and that number continues to grow, especially after the tragic loss of 5 soldiers in training accidents in Special Operations Command in the past 12 months. Special Operations Command soldiers face immense dangers, not just in combat, but also during training. These highly specialised forces are more likely to experience casualties, leaving their families to bear the emotional, financial and psychological burdens for years to come. The Commando Welfare Trust steps in to fill the gaps when traditional systems fall short, providing the vital assistance these families need. Looking ahead, the Trust is evolving to meet the new challenges our community faces following the findings of the Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide. We are focused on ensuring that the recommendations lead to real, actionable change. Our mission remains to support those who have sacrificed so much in areas like mental health, where support is often lacking. Another emerging issue we are addressing is mild traumatic brain injury, MTBI, often referred to as the invisible injury. Many Special Forces soldiers are exposed to blast waves in both combat and training, leading to long-term impacts that are only now coming to light. As awareness of MTBI grows, we are committed to supporting these affected by this condition. The 5 training deaths over the past year underscores the dangers our soldiers face, even when not in active conflict. These losses, along with the challenges faced by veterans over the past 3 decades, highlight the importance of continuing our work to ensure no one is left behind. As Australian security landscape shifts, the welfare of our Special Forces soldiers and their families remains a top priority. By focusing on these contemporary issues, the Commando Welfare Trust will continue to provide vital support, ensuring that those who have given so much for our country are never forgotten.
The race is on the 21st of March 2026, so 8 weeks' time in New Mexico, USA. All flights, accommodation, everything is self-funded. So all money we raise goes directly to this charity, so it can be apportioned to the beneficiaries as it should. If you feel like this is something you would like to donate towards and support, the link can be found on the Commando Welfare Trust Instagram page, LinkedIn, or in the caption of this YouTube video. Well, in collaboration with the Commando Welfare Trust, I'll be posting up videos on Instagram and YouTube. There, I'll be documenting the training and preparation so you know the effort that is going in to ensure we do this great cause justice. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's keep the memory of all of the men we've lost in service of our great country and region alive. Thanks for your time.